Welcome to Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. For today's episode, we have Ariel Fermin, the new president of Maxis Group. Mr. Fermin just assumed the position this October, taking over from Robert Trota, who retains the CEO post. Mr. Fermin was formerly the group COO of Maxis Group. Maxis Group, of course, is behind not just Maxis Restaurant, but some of our beloved brands like Pancake House, Yellow Cab, my favorite, Krispy Kreme, Jamba Juice, Delicious, Teriyaki Boy, and Sizzlin Steak. Welcome to the show, sir, and congratulations on the promotion.
Hello, Ralph. Thank you for the introduction.
So, sir, how's the first few weeks been like?
The first few weeks of me assuming the president's position has been really very encouraging. I'm looking at my job description, and it just means more work, frankly.
I know. Tell us about your leadership style and what culture do you intend to cultivate in the Maxis Group as the new president?
I am fortunate to be part of an organization that really has a nice blend of family values, caring for each other, taking care of each other, and of course professionalism. Balance that with getting things done. So that's the kind of culture we all thrive in. It's a kind of culture that brought us to where we are today, from where we started, no, and particularly during the first 19 months or the last 19 months of the pandemic, that culture has certainly shined through. Just a lot of hard work from the guys.
Now, yeah, you mentioned the pandemic. You took over the role of president now that the company is or the group is recovering. Tell us about that. What's MGI doing to attract customers again to dine in and take out more often than before?
MGI has pivoted quite earlier than the rest. In fact, we used the last 3 quarters of last year to transform ourselves, in a way, kind of disrupt ourselves from who we were previously. And as we always tell ourselves, do not waste the pandemic. And we've done a lot of strategic shifts in certain domains. None bigger than what we've done in brand, product, retail, supply chain. Kind of integrate the pipes in a different way so that we come out roaring in 2021, just being our new selves. From just being restaurant chain operators to and doing B2C kind of domain to right now we're into B2B. So we've transformed ourselves to other services like us being merchants, distributors, and manufacturers, so to speak, to like-minded brands.
Mm. Do not waste the pandemic. Can you elaborate more on the opportunities that you saw during this once in a lifetime, hopefully once in a lifetime experience?
Well, correct, no? So obviously, the pandemic changes lives and businesses as it has, affected ours. For us, it has really sharpened our compass to true north. As we say, it has given us the gift of clarity on who we can be, more than who we are known for and what magical things we can do together. Things that we wouldn't have even touched under normal circumstances. And so, for instance, like for brand, we focus on our 4 core brands. Obviously, we've got more than that, but we were smarter in focusing on the 4 core that move the needle, that deeply resonated in the communities that they serve. There are certain philosophies that we follow to the hilt, in terms of product. We have a certain principle like, working on finite materials for infinite creations. We're big fans of Lego, in a way that they not only give joy to kids just armed with 100 pieces and just and imagination, you'd create 1,000 stuff. You kind of put that in parallel to what we have, and yeah, just have 100 raw materials, give it to the chefs, and the chefs do their work and create a whole lot of menu recipes for us. In terms of retail, it's the ability to see space differently and not be just bound by the brick and mortar stores that perhaps we're known for. And from that, same brick and mortar, you see space differently, you repurpose space. And from that comes about, certain ways to reach the consumer and telling the consumer, hey, we're open, we're safe, and you should be comfortable, still, even with the pandemic.
Mm. With the pandemic, did you observe any changes in preferences of people? Any changes in behavior, brands in particular, or products that they prefer now more than, before the pandemic?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because prior to the pandemic, we were really moving so hard to make delivery more than what it was before. Say anywhere between 10 to 15% of our business. Now it has doubled, and yeah, it has doubled in the past 2 years or so, and it's now accounting for at least a third of our business. So that's one, because with delivery, it's a totally different ball game, as we know. And we've been one of the first companies to say hello and welcome to our friends, our aggregator friends, who help us, reach our consumer in a different way. Of course, we have our own platform. Should we have the fans of MGI calling us, or reaching out to us, we do have that platform as well. I think that's the first change, right? Well, the second change is that we see a whole lot of people. You know how it is when you kind of pantry load. This time it's freezer load, right? So you kind of do freezer loading, and we're right there in that space as well. That's why we entered into ready to cook solutions as well. So if you're a fan of Max's fried chicken, we're right there in your freezer too, because we have that option now. If you're a fan of yellow cab, we have that option too, because we have yellow cab frozen pizzas as well. If you're a fan of Densho Sisig, we're right there too, and so on and so forth. Teriyaki boy chicken, we're right there too. So we've evolved, and as we say, the consumers have evolved, and so should we, and so have we. So it's still the same MGI spiritually, but we kind of present our way and our company, our brands in a different light at this point, because we understand that the moment of consumption is different now. People are at home, and you want to be there in whatever way he wants to consume you, or she wants to consume you.
Mm. So people buy in bulk and prefer and just buy the frozen goods, ganun ba yun? And do you see that trend moving forward next year, now that the economy is now more open, people really miss the outdoors and the dine-in experience, things like that?
At the end of the day, the consumer decides, and as as the ones serving the community, we certainly want to be there for them in whatever approach was possible. And we welcome all, right? So if our fans wanted to go back to our stores, maraming salamat. If our fans wanted to, ask us for delivery, maraming salamat. If our consumers wanted to buy us in the supermarkets because they wanted to kind of prepare for, a celebration this weekend, we're there, right, as well. So the consumer ultimately decides, and whatever the avenue is, MGI was going to be playing a key role in their lives.
Mm. Now, restaurants are really the ones, restaurants are really the casualties of the pandemic. Kita naman sa financials ng most, if not all, the companies with the restaurants. And people also lost jobs.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little about that? If you can say ilang percent yung naapektuhan, the job losses, and are you hiring them back again now that the economy's opened up?
I think that's a fair question. So, I think the context has to be when the lockdown started on March 16, if I'm not mistaken, last year. We kind of approached it in a more organized way, because obviously we wanted to have some order in all the madness. So, the architecture that we have amongst ourselves was to reflect, respond, and renew. So reflecting means that we had to understand what was in front of us, what the rules were to stay alive, and kind of define the dimensions of the court. Only in understanding how this was played would we win, right, so to speak. After reflect, and we understood that the sooner we hopped from reflect, respond to renew eventually, that'll be best for the company. So as we reflected quite quickly, we responded quite promptly, and the first thing that we did really was to serve our communities. And the best starting point in serving the communities to serve our employees. So what we've done in reflection right now is that we've given our employees the time to be with their families and shared our products with them, just to make sure that they don't have to go out, buy groceries and stuff, and just be safe at home. We've also taken care of them from the point of view of uh, giving them the finances for a certain number of months. Now, in that journey, as we renew, we've changed the business model. So this is the part where, unfortunately, we'll have to right size the organization because obviously, as you said, the company and the industry, for that matter, was affected. So for us to survive and eventually thrive and now prosper in this new order, that meant a little bit of restructuring of the box economics, as we say, where the fixed costs, manpower included, of course, in fixed costs, will have to dip as deep, say, as the revenue decline in this case, so that we'll still have, at worst, a neutral spread on that one, or at best, a positive spread. So it was really about having positive spreads between fixed costs and revenues that way. Now, as far as people, unfortunately, having to leave the company, and these guys have served the company for so long, I'd say around a third have gone, and we are still in touch with them, and they're still, in a way, serving the company, and we're serving them in a different capacity. They may not be employees anymore, but some of them I know have built certain businesses with our products in mind.
Uh, another thing that experts are looking at is the expansion of restaurants and the hospitality, those heavily hit industries. So moving forward, next year and in the medium term, will we see bigger stores, smaller stores, cloud kitchens? What's going to be the strategy next year and in the coming years?
Oh, thank you for the question. So I did mention earlier that there are certain strategic shifts that we've been doing and we've prepared for since 2020, as we worked 3 years of strategy into 3 quarters of execution. And when you look at the domains that we have in terms of brand, product, retail, I think it'll be in retail, which is your question right now, where the change is most apparent because it affects the way our products are being purchased and consumed. Right. In terms of retail, moving forward, obviously the pandemic has kind of shed a lot of clarity on how things will be redesigned at this point. We're going for a smaller footprint that has the flexibility to move wherever the market takes us, whether that be more dine in eventually or a whole lot of al fresco, which we have right now, park and dine, curbside pickup, takeout, you name it. That kind of design was incorporated in the new store models that we have. And I think the practical thing about it is that in so doing, we were able to reduce the, um, the investment required by anywhere between 30 to 50%. And that's beautiful because it attracts not only the much resourced people, partners, investors, franchisees who may want to take part of MGI's growth agenda. Not only them, but also people who they're younger, perhaps younger, and who may not be as resourced, but who has enough to kind of be a franchisee too. And that's actually what we're seeing in the past quarter, where when we interview franchisee applicants, we notice that a lot of them are getting younger. And then when we talk about how much does it take, what will it entail, and so on and so forth, they're pleasantly surprised that it doesn't take much na pala. So it helps. Not only does it help them in terms of minimal cash outlay, but in terms of returns, it's much earlier than their previous models. So I think that's very, very helpful, for not only for us but also for the franchisees in the future.
Mm. Another observation that analysts told me, and even I personally observed, is that parang maraming companies are parang survival mode lang eh. Parang just to get by, just to pay people for them to stay, just to survive. And right now, I'm seeing it's the competition's going to be fierce now that economy's opened up. So, without giving the the company secrets, what will it take for you to compete in this new environment?
All right. Hey, before I forget, I want to thank, and we all owe them this, right? I want to thank our economic and health frontliners for making sure that where they put us in a position where we can recover. I think the policies that they put out there in the past 18, 19 months have really helped us, and of course the industry kind of balance, keeping people safe and keeping our economy up in this case, right? So yeah, so back to your question, what was the secret sauce and all that? Can I clarify that question again, please?
No, what will it take for you to compete in this new environment? Parang it's gonna be competition's gonna be fierce.
It's always been, it's always been, it's always been fierce. But I'll tell you what, right? Without getting soft, you know what the pandemic has taught us, me personally, is that we thrive in ecosystems. The fact that we are not just restaurant operators right now, the fact that we're in manufacturing, um, we're now merchants, we're now distributors. Actually, we do have customers who are peers in the industry, and we do provide them their own produce, their own what we refer to as intermediate products. A lot of people may not know it, and of course, we don't have to kind of say it, but we provide buns for burger brands out from our own bakery line, right? We provide protein for some brands whose products are rice toppings. We do that for them as well. We provide some glazed sauce for someone else's chicken brand. We provide desserts for some quick service restaurant. Perhaps the way it was before, that would be unheard of. But hey, in the new order, we're actually helping each other, and that's beautiful. And that's what the economy needs. That's what the industry needs, because strength for numbers is real. Having said that, while that of course is now happening, and that's actually at the fulcrum of the business transformation of MGI, right? We remain to be steadfast, strong, fortified, if you will, at core of core. And it starts with the brands, right? Our brands are perhaps some of the most loved, most respected, iconic brands in this part of the world, right? So, talk about Max's, Yellow Cab, Pancake House, Krispy Kreme. Maxis has punched through generations. And ironically, the pandemic has compelled us, or compelled the brand to do so, because you've got a lot of families hold at homes who crave for our Max's fried chicken. And guess what? They just have to understand how to get through, uh, and in orders online and so on and so forth, as everyone has. And so it has forced its way, kind of naturally so, in the digital space arena, if you will. Pancake House, same thing. A lot of people are fans of Pancake House. Who would not be? Then again, we understand that pancakes are best, or tacos are best enjoyed when you go to our stores. We all get that. So guess what? What the guys have done was to transform, reconfigure a product so that you have do-it-yourself tacos right now. So just in case you guys haven't, kind of tried it, it's quite cool to do your own taco at home. Things you wouldn't have imagined being done before. And of course, we have to talk
Mhm.
about your favorite, you say, Ralph, to be Krispy Kreme, right? OG, when you get your hands into an OG or an OG lifer, for sure. original glaze, right? I'll give you a short story on that one, right? In the earlier week of the pandemic, we asked ourselves, what is the role of a happy brand like Krispy Kreme in such a gloomy state in mankind right now? Because it's quite insensitive to market a brand this way as we have been. So we kind of, felt our way through that, and only to find out that the world actually needed Krispy Kreme. The Filipinos needed Krispy Kreme. I tell this story to the international folks, and they say that they share the same insight, proving that there is really a space for joy and happiness in times like this, right? And it just provides, it spreads seeds of hope and joy to everyone. And of course, yellow cab, right? Yellow cab is everyone's favorite. I would guess. Wouldn't be surprised. It's obviously you can eat it any time of the day. Obviously, if you have it delivered, you could eat it up from the box straight. Or for me personally, I get it from the fridge and it's still fine. Yeah, so these are the brands that are really pulling mightily for MGI right now. Yeah, just to share.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kasi yung mga pagkain, yun talaga yung mga na-miss ng tao eh during the pandemic. Like we order and just to and the food reminds us of I wouldn't say the old times pero the normal times, 'di ba? Na parang yung the flavor, the I mean it reminds you of it reminds you na yung normal na panahon. And on that note, I want to ask you, how did you stay sane during this pandemic? How did you adapt to these changes, being hold up dun sa bahay and not being in the office? How did you cope?
It's crazy hard. As you can imagine,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is hard. It is hard, and it takes a lot of effort. Um, how did I cope? I have personally work ethics that I'd like to think are unparalleled, at least in this part of the world. So, and I am pretty much working on a certain cadence that's faster than the rest. Kind of think things through, every detail, even before it kind of gets surfaced. And I'm blessed, really fortunate to share that kind of vision and structure, if you will, with the rest of my team. The leadership team that we have for MGI is just phenomenal. If I were in a foxhole, and I still am in a foxhole, I'd still choose these guys. So credit goes to them uh, for uh, for for thinking it through and challenging the thinking and executing eventually to where we are right now. That's why when you look at our performance year to date, it's really growing by double digit. And if you look at quarter three, even if 2 out of 3 months were in ECQ, it's still growing by double digit. With, I'm sure the results are out there anyway. I won't spell it out, but when you look at the margins that we have at the operating level or even at the EBITDA levels, in absolutes, the numbers are almost thrice as much, with margins that have grown by double digit points, without going through detail. But yeah, that's pretty much how I personally coped up. Of course, you got to take care of yourself. For me, that meant, because I'm a hooper and you can't do hoops. That meant running, a lot of, I don't know what you call those body weight exercises. All of a sudden, I know how to do those now, which of course I kind of dreamt of before. Now I'm like, okay, kaya naman pala at this age of whatever, 45. Of course not.
Now, finally, what do you expect for 2022? Dreams, targets, wishes. Yeah, with the cases continue declining. What's your wish for 2022?
Well, I wish that, just like everyone else, would continue to balance, being healthy and being commercially successful. For all the businesses in the Philippines, I wish. everyone would um, be on the path to rebounding and go back to where we were before from a value standpoint, right? How you get there is quite different though. That much I know. And it applies to us. We may reach our numbers in, before the pandemic, but how we will get there is quite different. As I've described to you earlier, we're no longer restaurant operators of the most loved brands, perhaps in this part of the world, Max's Yellow Cab, Pancake House, and Krispy Kreme. But yeah, it'll be through some other means as well. So that's pretty much in my mind right now. I just wish everyone well, and I wish that everyone figured it out, like what we have done in MGI.
Okay, so challenges ahead and opportunities. Looking forward to more of Max's group next year in the coming years, and hope to see you real soon when lockdowns ease further. Again, thanks so much, Ariel Fermin, new president of Max's Group. This has been another episode of Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. Thanks for watching.